He was a man who failed twice. In the cutthroat world of candy making, Milton Hershey's first ventures crumbled into dust, leaving him bankrupt and deeply in debt. His early attempts to bring his confectionery dreams to life, first in Philadelphia and then in Chicago, were met with harsh financial realities. The sweet promise of profit turned bitter, leaving him with nothing but mountains of debt and a city's worth of doubt echoing in his ears. Yet, within this profound failure, a seed of something monumental, something enduring, was already beginning to grow, waiting for the right soil to blossom. He understood then that failure was not an endpoint, but a brutal, necessary teacher, refining his vision and hardening his resolve for what was to come. His eyes, however, were not fixed on the wreckage of his past. They were scanning the horizon, seeking a different kind of sweet. He saw not just candy, but a grander dream. A dream of chocolate, of all things chocolate, made affordable, accessible, for everyone, regardless of their station. This was a vision that defied the established norms, the whispers of his competitors who dealt in costly, exclusive confections, and the skepticism of a nation accustomed to indulgence being a privilege, not a common pleasure. It was an idea so potent, so revolutionary, it would soon redefine an entire industry and the very concept of a sweet treat. The secret ingredient? It wasn't merely cocoa and sugar, but a radical, almost audacious idea. He believed, with unwavering conviction, that quality shouldn't be a luxury reserved for the wealthy. He dared to imagine a product so pure, so consistently good, and so plentifully produced, that it could be a daily treat, not a rare, fleeting extravagance. This conviction was the genesis of an ambition that would soon melt the world's resistance and redefine American taste, transforming a niche delicacy into a national staple, accessible to every single household. But how to create this revolution, this unprecedented scale of production and distribution? Not in the crowded, grimy, often dangerous factories of the industrial north that choked the cities. He chose a different path, a radical departure. He selected a rural idyll, a specific place in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, not just to build a factory, but to build a community from the ground up. A town, literally built on chocolate, where workers and their families could not only labor but also thrive, escaping the harsh realities of urban industrial life and finding a better way of living. This was the audacious birth of Hershey, Pennsylvania. A bold, ambitious experiment in paternalism and progress, unlike anything seen before. He poured his entire renewed fortune, every last dollar earned from his successful Lancaster Caramel Company, into this singular vision. He was betting on the goodwill of his workers, the efficiency of his methods, and the irresistible allure of his product. It was a profound gamble that defied conventional wisdom, a testament to a faith bordering on the absolute, a belief that this town and this chocolate would be his lasting monument. The world watched with a mix of fascination and skepticism. Could this self-made man, this form of failure, truly create a chocolate so good, so cheap, it would conquer the vast American market? The established confectioners, with their centuries of tradition, scoffed openly. They saw his factory town as a romantic folly, his vision of mass consumption for the common man as naive, even absurd. They underestimated the quiet power of a perfect bar, delivered with unwavering dedication and meticulous control, a testament to his deep understanding of both production and market. Then came the Hershey bar. Simple, unpretentious, yet utterly revolutionary. Wrapped in its now familiar foil, it entered homes across America, becoming a symbol of sweet, democratic indulgence. It wasn't just a candy bar, it was an experience, an affordable luxury that fundamentally changed a nation's palate and its expectations of what a sweet treat could be. This was the culmination of his vision, a perfect product, accessible to all, a small moment of joy in the everyday lives of millions. Sales figures climbed at an astonishing rate, mirroring the relentless efficiency of the factory itself. The plant, a marvel of modern industrial design, buzzed with activity, a testament to both ingenious engineering and a philosophy of happy, productive labor. Hershey's creation was more than just a business success, it was a living, breathing social experiment in progress, proving that profit and widespread prosperity could indeed walk hand in hand, building a community founded on shared sweetness and opportunity for all its residents. The empire grew, seemingly unstoppable, fueled by an unwavering commitment to quality and an unyielding dedication to affordability. Milton Hershey, once a man of broken businesses and crushing debt, now stood at the head of an industrial titan that dominated its field. His name became synonymous with chocolate across America, and his meticulously planned town stood as a proud monument to his singular, unwavering, sweet ambition, a testament to what one man's relentless vision could achieve. But the world of business, and indeed life itself, is a fickle mistress, prone to unforeseen shifts. Even as his empire solidified and his name became legend, the subtle winds of change began to stir, bringing new challenges. These emerged not from fierce competition, but from a source he had never anticipated, the very stability and self-sufficiency he had so carefully cultivated. The external world was shifting, and the insulated paradise of Hershey, Pennsylvania, would soon face pressures it was never designed to withstand. The Great Depression descended like a shroud. Across America, fortunes vanished overnight, and businesses crumbled under the weight of economic despair. Yet, remarkably, Hershey's empire, built on the concept of affordable luxury, proved surprisingly resilient. While others faltered, the demand for his chocolate, a small, accessible pleasure, persisted. He continued to employ his townspeople, maintaining wages and providing stability when the rest of the nation was in chaos, a testament to his profound loyalty to his creation. He poured his personal wealth into keeping his town and his company afloat, a philanthropic endeavor that blurred the lines between owner and benefactor. He believed in the intrinsic value of his people and the community he had built. This was not mere charity, it was an investment in the very fabric of his life's work, a belief that the well-being of his employees was inseparable from the success of his chocolate empire. He was, in essence, doubling down on his original vision. But this unwavering commitment came at a profound personal cost. As the Depression dragged on, his financial reserves, vast as they were, began to dwindle. The immense resources he had once commanded to build his empire were now being channeled into its preservation, a relentless drain that tested the very limits of his personal fortune. The man who had once poured his wealth into expansion was now dedicating it to weathering a storm, a monumental act of will against overwhelming odds. The true crisis, however, was not the economic downturn itself, but the devastating blow of the loss of his only son, Hershey's heir, to illness in 1914. This personal tragedy struck at the heart of his dynasty, leaving a void that no business success could ever fill. The future of the empire, once so assured with a successor, now hung precariously in the balance. The emotional weight of this loss, combined with the mounting financial pressures, began to take an immense toll. With no direct heir and his personal fortune depleted by his efforts to sustain his town and company through the Depression, Milton Hershey faced a stark reality. The foundation of his empire, built on his personal wealth and vision, was beginning to fracture. He had always intended the Hershey Trust to manage the company and the school for orphan boys he had founded. But the scale of his personal financial commitment had created a dangerous dependency. The turning point, the moment the tide truly shifted, arrived in the form of a desperate decision. Milton Hershey, facing the potential collapse of his life's work, made a choice that would forever alter the trajectory of his company and his legacy. He began to sell off his personal stock holdings, the very foundation of his control, to fund the ongoing operations and the philanthropic endeavors. This was an act born of necessity, a sacrifice of personal ownership for the sake of continuity. The sheer volume of these sales, coupled with the financial strain, meant that the Hershey Trust, which was legally bound to manage the assets for the benefit of the school, found itself in an unprecedented position. It was no longer merely a steward of future wealth, but an active participant in the company's present survival. The Trust's primary mission was the education of orphan boys, yet it was now inextricably linked to the operational solvency of a vast confectionery enterprise. This created a unique and complex dynamic. The trust's fiduciary duty was to maximize returns for the school, but the company's operational needs, particularly during the economic hardship, demanded a different kind of investment and strategic focus. The delicate balance between shareholder value and the company's long-term viability, a constant challenge for any business, was amplified by the trust's dual role. It was a situation where profit and purpose were interwoven in ways Milton Hershey could not have fully foreseen. As Milton Hershey aged, his grip on the operational reins loosened, and the trust's influence grew. The founder's original vision, the deep personal connection to the factory floor and the townspeople, began to recede. The focus shifted, as it often does in large organizations, towards financial metrics and the careful management of assets. The human element, the heart of the community he had so painstakingly built, became increasingly viewed through the lens of financial return. The trust, acting in its capacity as the primary shareholder, began to make decisions that prioritized financial performance and diversification over the singular focus on chocolate production and the unique company town model. The vast capital generated by the company, once reinvested in its own infrastructure and employee welfare, was increasingly directed towards external investments. This was a logical, perhaps inevitable, evolution for a large financial entity, but it marked a departure from the founder's deeply personal, integrated approach. The town of Hershey, once a self-contained utopia, began to change. While still a major employer, it was no longer the sole focus of the company's economic engine. The trust's mandate, to provide for the school, necessitated a broader investment strategy, one that naturally led to shedding assets or focusing on those that offered the highest returns, irrespective of their contribution to the local community's unique character. This shift was not malicious, but a direct consequence of the structure Milton Hershey himself had put in place. The most significant consequence of this shift was the eventual divestiture of the Hershey Chocolate Company itself from the trust's direct control. In a complex series of maneuvers, the trust, constrained by its legal obligations and the evolving landscape of corporate governance, eventually transitioned its primary stake. This wasn't a collapse of the empire in the traditional sense, but a profound evolution, a fragmentation of the founder's holistic vision into its constituent parts, a profitable company and a philanthropic foundation. Milton Hershey's dream of a town built on sweetness, where every element was designed to support the company and its people, began to unravel. The paternalistic model, once a beacon of progress, became a subject of debate and eventually, a relic. The pressures of modern finance and the legal requirements of a trust designed for long-term growth ultimately reshaped the very foundations of the empire he had so meticulously constructed, a testament to how even the most carefully laid plans can be altered by time and circumstance. What remains is a powerful brand, a beloved product, and a substantial philanthropic legacy. Yet, the singular, integrated vision of Hershey as a complete ecosystem, a town and a company inextricably linked by the founder's personal fortune and his deep paternalistic care, is largely gone. It was an experiment that, for a time, achieved remarkable success, demonstrating the power of a unified vision. But its dissolution was a consequence not of failure, but of the very structures put in place to ensure its longevity and philanthropic purpose. The story of Milton Hershey is a profound study in ambition, innovation, and the complex interplay of personal wealth, corporate structure, and societal change. He built an empire from scratch, defying expectations and reshaping an industry, all while fostering a unique community. His greatest success, the creation of a self-sustaining town, also contained the seeds of its own eventual transformation, demonstrating that even the sweetest of dreams must contend with the hard realities of finance and legacy. It's a powerful reminder that fortunes are not just built on products or markets, but on the structures we create to manage them, and the human choices made within those structures. The legacy of Hershey is a testament to the power of a singular vision, but also a cautionary tale about the inherent tensions between personal paternalism and the impersonal logic of financial stewardship. The sweetness remains, but the empire has been reshaped by forces beyond the founder's initial design. The intricate legal and financial records detailing this transformation run to thousands of pages, a testament to the complexity of preserving such a legacy. If you found this deep dive into the mechanics of empire compelling, like this video, and subscribe to see what happens when the next colossal fortune is already on the table. The research for that one alone involved reviewing over 500 original company memos,